What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter. Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. Power lines are just kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg. How are you today, Camilla?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Dan?
Well, I can't really complain. For those of you in the audience who haven't seen a chance encounter before, the way it works is I go through the 5 different motivations for your next commercial deal, and I say, which one's you? And then I go through the 6 different roles in a commercial deal, and I say, hey, which one's your core competency? But in commercial real estate, just like everywhere else, if you're going to be successful, you have to be able to introduce yourself effectively. So, Camilla, can you please introduce yourself?
Yep. I am Camilla Jeffs. I am the founder and CEO of Steady Stream Investments, which is an education-based company to educating passive investors how to get involved with multifamily investing.
All right, awesome, awesome. So let's get the motivation piece up here. I go like that, and then I go like this, and then I go like that. And there it is. All right. So I go through the motivation piece first because the beginners, they know that they want part of a commercial deal, but they don't know necessarily what role they're going to have. So the first motivation that commercial investors have for their next purchase is because they're looking to preserve their purchasing power. So any family office or anybody who relies on their wealth's cash generation in order to make ends meet, that's what they're up to, because inflation is the big party pooper. So that's the first motivation to get your next commercial deal. The next one is my one, which is trading time for wealth. I have a background in tech and e-commerce, mass emailing, like lead capture funnels and online sales funnels. So as a high earner, I have the choice of making a high salary, paying off my income tax, and then dumping it into wealth. But me personally, I'm like, well, doesn't it make more sense to get on the GP team? And then that way I'm being rewarded for all my effort in the form of equity and therefore wealth. So that's the reason why I'm in this. The next reason is the most common one, which is that people want to fast track their retirement. There are 2 things that are implied when it comes to fast tracking your retirement. One of them is that if somebody's in their early 20s or something like that, and they say, oh, I'm fast tracking my retirement, it's like, well, you haven't even started saving for your retirement. So that doesn't really count. But the bigger one is that there's an end point in mind. There's a goal in mind. Maybe they'll become an accredited investor and decide to move someplace where the cost of living is very low, like the Philippines, and then they'll be basically out of the game. And that's in contrast to the next type, which is the ambitious type. They want to buy their entire hometown and they'll just never stop hustling. It's just go, 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 go. And they're very valuable people to have on your GP team. But in contrast to that, the last motivation is, I call it an irrational need to help tenants. But really what I mean is that there's some sort of sector of society, or maybe it's like you want to buy rainforest, or just like, who knows, it could be animals. But if you realize that you've never seen a hospital with a librarian's name over the top of the door, you'll realize that generating wealth, it's the best vehicle out there to make a real impact in society. So if you're looking more to help people, some specific group, then that would be the motivation. But those are the 5 different motivations. And which one describes your situation, or what combination, Camilla?
Uh, well, I'll do a combo, right? So definitely the irrational need to help tenants. Like I am, so I launched an impact investing network, and we are working with other real estate investors to create more impact in this world, whether that be through social impact for affordable housing initiatives, or environmental impact, or any other impact that you want to make in your life. So that one is huge for me. And then also the trading time for wealth one, right? So I'm definitely on a pursuit to have more time freedom in my life. And so those are 2 of my motivations.
Excellent, excellent. So the next one is the different roles, and I'll go through them for you in the audience who aren't as experienced. The first role is a repositioner. Okay, a repositioner looks at a whole whack of different deals and tries to find which one has upside. How are you going to know if a property has upside? You have to underwrite it. So repositioners are definitely underwriters. They need to know the math as far as what the rent numbers are and how they can basically produce more money, get more income from this property than it is as it stands. I like to say that real estate is the world's second oldest profession, and so it's so mature that basically the deals aren't just screaming all out there, especially right now that it's so hot. So what are the ways that the repositioner can find upside? The first one is by more efficient operations. If you cut the costs, the property will generate more money. I've got money going down the toilet here because, of course, clogged toilets, unclogging toilets is one part, but also like the bookkeeping, the marketing to make sure the vacancy is low, which is the part that I'm a part of, and also any kind of automation as far as inventory for your for any maintenance and stuff like that. That's the operations piece. But as I mentioned, we're in the hottest real estate market in history, so just optimizing operations probably won't cut it. So repositioners generally will get a contractor team so that they can make the units nicer so that they can charge more in rent, and that is upside. And if they're smart, they won't let the operations people do the contracting. But if you are from the internet like I am, you're going to need a local. I need to get my passport if I want to get to the properties and get on an airplane. So that's not efficient. You need to have somebody who's like an hour or two away who can drop everything and make sure that operations aren't cutting corners, that they're actually doing their jobs, and same with the contractors. So most people think of that when these four rules, when they think of an apartment deal, but there's still more to it. There's the financier. They have to go to the bank and say, hey, I want to buy this property. It's worth tens of millions of dollars. So can you lend me, say, tens of millions of dollars? And there's also capital raisers as well. But the financier will end up asking, okay, what's the property look like? Who's going to be running it? Okay, that's all cool. What's their experience? But who's the sponsor? And that's the one that gets beginners a lot of the time. They don't realize that you're going to need a sponsor if you want to get a loan. Okay. So what's a sponsor? It's somebody who already owns a similar asset. So even if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Bill Gates wants to buy a 350 unit apartment complex, if they want a loan, they have to have somebody in the fold who already owns a similar asset. There are also liquidity restrictions, and there also has to be a balance sheet worth at least the amount of the loan. But those are the 6 different roles. So out of those, Camilla, you already said that you're on the education piece, and I imagine you're also like co-GPing in there. But out of the parts on the die, what's your core competency that you'd be likely to contribute to your next commercial deal?
I can contribute operations. I can contribute the local aspect of it, and then also capital to the deals.
Okay, excellent. So, and then the next question usually has to do with your buy box, which means the geographic area. So, since you also have that role as a local, that geographical piece is going to be a bigger one. But what sort of unit counts and classes and geographic areas is your ideal property? What's easier to say yes to?
It's easier to say yes to at least 100 units plus in the Dallas area or the Tulsa, Oklahoma area.
Mhm.
I'm close to both, and then also looking for mostly a class C plus B minus.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And the next one is you mentioned that you're the education piece. So so that's probably like new repositioners because like part of repositioning is also acquisition, right? So it sounds like that's the person who'd help the most. But without breaking any SEC restrictions, it's against the law to entice investors. According to SEC restrictions. So without enticing any investors, who's the best person that you can help more than anybody else in real estate? Who's the best person to reach out to you?
Oh, so the best person to reach out to me would be someone who is looking to invest in real estate, and they've invested in real estate for a long time in single family or small multis, and they're tired of the slog. They're tired of being a landlord, and they want a different way, and they want to be able to join a group investment rather than doing everything themselves. And so that's the best person to reach out to me is kind of a tired landlord, which was exactly my experience, and I got tired of it, and so I started joining group investments, and I love it, and I'm never going to look back.
Awesome, awesome. And you and I ran into each other through I believe it was Brian Briscoe's meetup,
Yeah,
and I got there through LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn the best way to reach out to you, or is there a website or another platform that's better?
LinkedIn's fantastic. I also have a website, camillajeffs.com, where anyone can reach out to me.
All right, awesome. And for those of you in the audience who don't know me well, as I mentioned, my background is in e-commerce technology. In other words, building websites that make money. But the commercial real estate element is that I do the funnels for lead capture and documenting the leads, because of course the 506B requirements is that you have a prior existing relationship, and that's a pretty sticky thing because a lot of it's gray letter law, as they say. But I do have a big favor to ask you in the audience there, which is if you look over here somewhere, you'll see a red button that makes me sad. It says subscribe. If you click it, then it won't make me sad, because that means YouTube will pay for this video instead of me, which is better. I want the Google money. I have no problem in saying that. And so you're doing me a great big favor. It costs you absolutely nothing. And all it means is that you might see my videos on the list of suggestions when you open the YouTube app. But if you're like me, I only open the YouTube app when I'm searching for something, so you probably won't notice it anyway. But again, YouTube will pay for this. But Camilla, this has been really great getting to know you a little bit. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Dan.